Calling all builders. Welcome to Snowflake's 5-minute demo dare, where contestants race against the clock to demo the latest and greatest Snowflake products and features. Our judges will rate the demos based on 3 criteria. How ambitious is the demo? Is the demo useful and replicable? And finally, how engaging and interactive was the demo? Each category is worth 5 points, and demos can rack up to a total of 15 points for a perfect score. And now, your host, developer advocate Felipe Hoffa.
Welcome, everyone, to the Demo Dare show, where contestants compete with the timer to show us an incredible, funny, interesting, and useful demo within 5 minutes. I'm Felipe Hoffa, developer advocate for Snowflake, and today we are going to have our guest from Sigma. And the title of today's show is Sigma Custom Functions and Snowpark UDFs. Is our contestant ready for the show?
Let's go.
Zack Nortan. Yes, full of energy. Technical PMM at Sigma Computing. What does technical PMM mean, and what is Sigma Computing?
So I used to be a solution engineer, so I'm still holding on to that credibility. Sold a lot of fintech and healthcare. And then now I'm on the marketing side, but also working on a lot of our demo engineering solutions. So I'm still keeping a foot in both worlds. That's all.
Demo engineering. So you are an expert demo deliverer. That sounds great.
Yeah, building a lot of data apps. That's the future now.
Beautiful. And what's your demo about today? I like when you say data apps.
Yeah, so today this is going to be a business user leveraging Snowpark, whether they know it or not. So even if they think Snowpark is still just a ski vacation, they can go ahead and start doing their forecasting, leveraging it with Sigma custom functions that get pushed down to Snowpark UDFs that come back in a very familiar format for them to be able to unlock their analysis and not get blocked by typical, I'll call them out as they come up in the demo, but typical blockers where they have to go back to their data science team or their data engineering team or BI team and say, help, I got stuck, I'm back in Excel.
Excellent. And when you mention business users, what makes Sigma special for them?
Yeah, so Sigma is a cloud-based analytics platform, really came into full maturity in like 2021. What we do is we provide a pure SaaS platform on top of platforms like Snowflake to issue machine-generated SQL code, direct query, and then return it in browser. So we never store or persist any of the data. We're not holding anything crucial. So if you pass your security review for Snowflake, you'll pass your security review for Sigma, because all we're going to do is give an easier interface for business users to work on top of it without being so tempted to download into Excel or do an extract into other previous on-premise tools. So just an easy spreadsheet-based UI for building out data apps right back. And you'll see in the demo being able to leverage Snowpark.
Nice. A spreadsheet UI that keeps your data safe instead of having multiple copies, who knows where. That sounds great. Can't wait to see it. And we have judges that can't wait to see your demo today. Let me welcome our judges. Amish, Michelle, and Daniel Myers. How are all you doing?
Great. Happy to be here.
Yes. Where are you today, Michelle?
I'm based in Toronto.
Toronto. Nice. That's where we meet. And you are a sales engineer for Snowflake. Thank you for joining us. Daniel, he's our lead judge. He's been the lead judge for while we're doing this show. Where are you today, Daniel? Daniel is muted.
Willing so right now.
Daniel, it's not muted now.
Can you? So currently in Seattle and traveling around different events. We're currently at Microsoft Build. So excited to see this demo and see what it's all about.
Yes. Kamish, where are you today?
I'm from Bangalore. I'm a new Snowflake that joined the team as a developer advocate. Looking forward to this great demo. See what's in depth. The link was of Snowflake, using Snowflake.
Yep. Kamish is our newest developer advocate to Snowflake. Welcome to Snowflake. We can't wait to share all that we have to share. And today it's your opportunity to judge. So, Zach, what's your demo in 10 seconds?
So in 10 seconds, here's my pitch. I'm a business user, and I lied in my application to be an analyst that I knew SQL and Python. And I'm going to be saved to keep my job with Sigma because I'm going to stay live on all the data in Snowflake with all the permissions. I'm going to leverage Snowpark. I'm going to write back to Snowflake, even leverage Cortex without having to go to night school in the meantime to catch up on what I lied on my resume about.
That's a funny prompt. Now, our judges are going to judge how much you do in 5 minutes, and we want to know if your demo is complete. To be able to do that, we need to know how much are you attempting to do in these 5 minutes.
So I'm going to crunch 9.1 million rows of think of like a big box retailer, like electronic stores. It's going to be the row level detail. And I'm going to summarize it. I'm going to forecast what the next 4 years looks like with the Snowpark UDF. Then I'm going to layer in data that's not in Snowflake yet, that my boss just tells me in the moment, like, oh, you forgot this, put it in there. That's going to go into the Snowpark UDF too. Then I'm going to hit Cortex and hit the buzzer and say that I'm done. So in 5 minutes, it'll be a little bit of a whirlwind, but the point will be I won't get blocked at certain points that usually business users have to tap out, go into Excel, or call up the data team and ask for help.
Yeah, that's a lot to do in 5 minutes. And it will be surprising to see all these technical concepts made simple for business users. Daniel from Seattle today. What are you expecting to see in this demo? Any questions for Zach?
Looking forward to really diving deep on the latency seems very high. Being able to reduce the complexity for business users to be able to get insights into their data. So I'm excited to see that. I want to see how ambitious this is going to really be. Is there what features of Snowflake and what how complex of a task can you take and that down to simple. I think will be.
Yes. Daniel, your connection is a little choppy, but we are very glad to have you here. Still, when you have questions, if the choppiness continues, we are going to ask you to rely through the other judges because you are the head judge. You know how to judge and do this, but I wish your Wi-Fi was better. How about you, Michelle? What do you expect to see? Do you have any questions for Zach before he starts?
I mean, my question is, how are you going to do that all in 5 minutes, Zach? That's my first question.
I might use a few hotkeys. We have hotkeys, so that helps.
Okay, I like that. I like efficiency. I guess I'm really interested to see how you are demoing Cortex and all of this. So being a customer-facing person at Snowflake, I think Cortex is one of the more exciting features and that has been released recently. So a lot of customers are going to be curious to use it within Sigma. So I'm excited to see that.
Excellent. Let's see how much you can do and how you make it easy. And Kamish, how much of this are you familiar with? What of this is new? Represent the voice of the new Snowflake users.
I think
expecting to see today.
Yeah, the real thing I want to see about is like I was just going through all these 1 billion row challenges and 2 billion row challenges and all these stuff, and people are talking about, okay, this is going slow, this is going fast, and I really want to see how Zach loads this 9 million spreadsheet into thing, and how fast that Snowflake is doing that, going to do that for that. That's going to give other people a chance that Snowflake can do that without much fuss. Right? I think that is something which is really interesting for me to know. Yeah.
That's a great starting point. And I would remind everyone that we are live and we are expecting also live audience questions. If somehow LinkedIn doesn't relay the messages today because we're live and sometimes LinkedIn fails, we are also live on YouTube and you can send us your comments, support for Zack, and questions for Zack there too. With that, are we ready to start the demo, Zack? And do you want us to know anything before you start the demo?
No, I mean, is my screen sharing? Does that look good?
Your screen will show up in a second. Don't worry too much about that, because first we need to start the timer. So
Got it.
yes, your
Well,
screen.
the only thing I'd say is this is a retail data set. It's 9.1 million rows, which is short change for us. We have lots of retail customers that are using Sigma on top of 9 billion rows. It's because we don't move it out of Snowflake. That elasticity can just scale and just breathe in the data. A lot of other tools, extractive or in memory, fall down at a certain threshold. We don't. So I'm just going to stress the scale factor off the top.
Stress scale factor. Nice. So with that, I see your clock. It's 1 p.m. where you are. It's 10 a.m. where I am. We are distributed around the world. Do we start the timer?
Let's roll.
Let's roll.
All right. So what I have here is online sales debt. This is 9.1 million rows. And what I'm doing is I'm leveraging my existing Snowflake credentials to bring it up within Sigma. It's a very spreadsheet-like UI. And I'm just a business user that can immediately profile these columns and get all the statistics for the distinct values on the fly. What I want to do, though, is just some high-level analysis to truncate my order date column down a month. And I'm going to group on it and do a very spreadsheet-like calculation, which is a count distinct of my order numbers. So you'll see there, this is my historic orders. And that 9.1 million rows, this is a major inflection point in every Sigma demo that I could crunch it and roll it up into 51 rows here for historic orders. So I have 51 previous months of historic data. I'm just going to format that as a scientific unit. That would be all well and good. I might want to export it into Excel at this point because I've already rolled up my table, but then I would have still copies on my desktop that would go out of date and I wouldn't be able to leverage something like Snowpark. So I'm just a business user. I want to do a forecast, so I type in forecast, and this is a Sigma custom function that is wrapped around a Snowpark UDF. I could just plug in the date and the value, and it returns immediately in JSON. Now, JSON can be scary for business users. Usually this is a block or a dead end, but I can extract the date and the predictive value. I'm going to hide the JSON because it's still scaring me. I'm triggered from trying to work with it in other tools. And I can format this return from the Snowpark UDF into a date. This is a month as well. I'll just tell it my future month. And this is my predictive value that I also want to be a scientific unit. So formatted the table, 51 rows, rolled up, Snowpark UDF, and now I can start visualizing it, same way I would within like a desktop tool. And I'll just chart out, here's the historic data, my historic orders. And I have a phobia of sharp lines, so I'm going to make this smooth. That same visualization, I can duplicate it, keep the same formatting that I already put in there, but this other visualization is going to be my forecasted orders. So that's where I can bring in that predictive value from Snowpark. And you'll see it's actually a little bit more manic depressive. So there's higher highs and then lower lows that I might want to consider. But that's already charted. I'm calling Snowpark without having to know anything aside from just punching in forecast and putting in two values. I could be able to call today, but my boss calls me and says, no, I didn't mean online sales data. I meant all sales data. So I need to bring in this offline data from a Google Sheet and immediately layer it into my analysis. And I could do that with a Sigma input table, which writes back to Snowflake in a governed schema. I could just copy and paste it in, and it's still editable. Look at this. This is right back as the way that you always wanted it. So this is brick and mortar. sales, those monthly orders. It's going to make sure it's formatted correctly. And I'm going to do a very Excel-like move here, which is a lookup. So I'm looking up the values that I just wrote back to Snowflake from my brick and mortar sales that I want to port into that Snowpark UDF. Matches it by month. I can get the actual month name. And you know what? I got enough time. I can fix this. Month. There we go. So historic orders, I'm going to layer in that additional data. All I have to do is hit plus, bring in that additional order amount, and you'll see how my visualizations downstream immediately bring in that additional data that I had from the Excel sheet. So it's going back to the UDF, adding in the additional data. I can remove the, let's get the historic orders out of here. That's the predicted values. So let's just pop that in there. There's a future month. And if I want to do anything with the UDF, I can actually enrich this data by calling a Snowflake Cortex function. So here's the complete Snowflake Cortex. And what this will do, and this is a little pre-prepared, a little cooking show magic, but I can add the month and say, is this a good month for us to sell electronics, like winter stuff? And it'll fill down in that individual column, whether it's good or bad. So November, yes.
Ooh.
So that's the Cortex enrichment. That's a final table.
Yes, I'm going to give you the last 5 seconds back because sometimes our timer goes faster than what people see. What was your last 5 seconds?
That was it. We bring in the Snowflake Cortex function, and then that is immediately available for being able to drop it into any of the visualizations that you can go ahead and color it with that additional detail when you enrich a table. So here's the historic orders, and here's Cortex telling us whether that's a good month or not for what we sell.
I'm amazed. There was so much magic here that I would love to get deeper into. But first, let me give you an opportunity for the judges to react. Who would like to start? Daniel has unmuted.
Yeah. I loved it. I love this demo. And I think you were true to your word about, reducing complexity, making it super easy for the business user. I thought it was pretty awesome to see. I loved the fact that you were able to tie in Cortex and really show off how it's able to tap into the and push down compute directly into Snowflake, right? Using Snowpark. I think that's very important, and I think that that was something that I really hit home for me. So 2 thumbs up. Great demo.
Yes. Michelle.
Awesome. Daniel, I feel like you're very kind. No, I'm kidding. Zach, I thought that
Yes,
was incredible.
I love it. Michelle can judge. Are you ready to judge, Michelle?
I'm ready to judge. No, I made a few notes, and Zach, I really loved how the visualizations were updated so quickly after you added that data. It really showed the simplicity of Sigma. And it also made me realize why my customers like Sigma so much, especially those who are used to Excel, because there wasn't any lag. There wasn't any waiting to bring in additional data. I liked, Daniel, you mentioned being able to access the scalability of Snowflake. So I think all of that was shown in these 5 minutes. So that was very cool. I do have a question though. Did you have to go back to night school to create this UDF? Or did you have a friend in data engineering that did that for you?
I have a friend in data engineering, and his name's Fran. He'll be at Snowflake Summit, so hit him up. And I copied off his notes.
Awesome. I like how you were able to use that in Sigma though, directly. So thanks for that. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
All right. I think
sorry, give me your name pronunciation again, because I know I'm not saying it perfectly
it's
right.
Kamish. It's Kamish. Yeah.
Kamish. Yes. Please judge how I pronounce your name.
The May that comes a little bit more. Kamish. It's a Kamish.
Yes. So let's go back to Zach now. What did you think of the demo? Zach,
I think
Kamish, what did you think of
Zach's
demo?
That's an amazing demo, Zach. I think I liked a lot of things. The first very thing which hit me was you were starting to get rid of the JSON stuff. I think terribly like no business users like JSON or any kind of other formats. That's a beautiful thing that you did. And obviously no codes. Having worked with spreadsheets, I know how to get those graphs done. Like it's super hard, to be honest. And you did that with a super grace, right? I love that side of the things. One thing is like again hiding the code side of things. Obviously, there is an UDF involved, but you did hide that thing very well. And finally, like how you kind of wired it up with Cortex, that was amazing. I think that showed real stuff on how your columns adjusted for that, right? I think that was beautiful. Real goal, what he said earlier, like for the business user, doesn't need to know anything and then just comes and does stuff, right? Honestly, I've not worked with Sigma, but having seen a demo, I think that I should go touch it out and see how it works. Yeah, I think again, great demo.
Yes. I love also how Michelle said, now I understand why my customers love Sigma so much. It's, yeah, I have not seen it working before, but now I'm really impressed too. Before we give time for the judges to go decide the final score, any other questions that you would like to ask Zack? Are we good? Okay, I'll give time for the judges to go deliberate on the final score. But I have more questions for Zack. And anyone that has live questions right now, we are taking them. I'm not getting anything from LinkedIn. Sometimes that's because LinkedIn doesn't deliver the messages in real time. Come to YouTube and we will answer your questions. But Zack, I would love to learn a little more about how you wired this UDF into Sigma.
Yeah. So
pre-built, or did your friend build it and somehow you connected it? And feel free to share your desktop if you would like.
Yeah. So let me see. I think I am still sharing. So here's the actual UDF within Snowflake. Is that popping up?
Our producer will bring your desktop, and now it is. There it is. Thank you, Rita. Auto time series model. Interesting. And
So-
this is part of Snowsite.
Anything available within Snowpark, we can call. We also, for security concerns, if you're on Azure or AWS, we can leverage private link. So nothing would ever go over the public internet. When we call UDFs, another big one, and the reason why fintech companies love us is we can call IRR or XIRR, internal rate of return, which has always been like a quagmire for BI tools to be able to do this function that has this internal circular logic. We can pull that and run it right within Sigma, and you call IR like you would within Excel. So whether it's forecasting, data collection use cases, classification, clustering, really anything that's going to be in Snowpark will immediately be inheritable within Sigma.
Nice. And what I see, oh no, now you're showing me the private chat. Come back to your screen. I want to ask you more questions about the. Can you share your desktop again, but share the screenshot that you were sharing with us?
Yep, one sec.
With the UDF. It's coming back. Yes, there it is. Yes, so you were using this UDF, the auto time series model. And this is a UDF. I see that your friend, what was his name or her name?
Brand Britsky. Let's see.
Brand Britsky.
Let me zoom in on his photo up here. See if we can get up there. There he is.
Oh, beautiful.
You'll see him at Snowflake Summit.
So he wrote a UDF with a Python UDF using Arima. So in this case, you can get any type of forecast, not only the Cortex forecast, but in this case, Arima forecast. And how do you wire this back into Sigma?
Yeah, so in Sigma, we have you can do custom functions. So even if it's not even for Python, if you just want to say every time somebody does a count distinct, we add 10, or there's an if function that always comes up, or a certain way that you want to leverage metrics, you can write a custom Sigma function, which would be just like a custom spreadsheet function. So you set it up, it will still autocomplete when you're in the formula bar, and then it'll queue up, hey, this needs a date, this needs a value, and then we'll return the rest of it. So no matter how complicated it is, you can really boil it down and make it completely approachable for business users.
Nice. Can we go back to your Sigma UI? I love seeing it. We're back into the StreamYard, but we will be back with Sigma in a second. Yes.
Okay, so when I do a forecast, see how that pops up as custom.
Uh-huh.
But part of it is that it explicates. We just need a date and a value, and then you just start plugging in information from the actual spreadsheet.
Nice. And now it's called monthly forecast because somewhere in Sigma you did the connection with the UDF.
Yes.
So
this is just a nice wrapper for the business user to fire 2 values into the UDF. Doesn't have to be 2, it could be 10. But in that way, you're not constantly sending out Python scripts and instructing business users to find the 2 different nodules to fill with their business logic and training them up on, using Panda or, different Panda frames. This way, it's completely streamlined to be a spreadsheet-like interaction. And all the data scientists that get frustrated that their work's never seen out in the field, this is the best way to deploy it.
Yeah, I like it. I love the speed. I like that. I assume Sigma offers a lot of functions that are already very familiar for people coming from the Excel world, but then you can add wherever you want, as you showed us, like with, for example, with Arima. Popular functions. Excellent. Oh, those are so familiar in the Excel world.
So even if you need to throw an array of values into a Python function, that's also possible. And it doesn't have to just be average, sum. You can do an average to the second power divided by the max if of another calculation. These are all plug and play. There's no limitation for how far you can go.
Wow, nice. Let me bring back the judges to give the final message and final score. Before we leave, Zack, anything that you would love people to remember or do next?
So we'll be at a Snowflake Summit, and we are doing a lot more in terms of data apps. So we have Sigma Forms. Because we have these input tables, it naturally lends itself to being able to just fill out a form, and then it collects the data, and that adds another row that can go right into the same way that I layered it into the demo into the enterprise data set. So data appification is going to be top of mind for us going forward. And if I'm back next year, that'll be the premise of the demo.
Data appification? Say it again.
Data appification. I coined it, okay?
Nice. Kamish, any last words, action items, things you want people to remember? Kamish, I'm trying.
Okay. See, the only thing, probably we're talking about this 9 million rows, right? One thing could have been really nice is how Sigma leveraged Snowflake to kind of get this 9 million rows rolled out faster. Because I see, Zach, when I see your demos, things move so swiftly, but probably could have called out how Snowflake does that for you, right? So that could have been a super nice thing. Yeah, maybe
Yeah, I really want to say the Snowflake log of everything that we saw and how it was reflected inside the Snowflake. But I believe in what you're saying, Zach. And you had 5 minutes. But still, if in a demo I can see this is how Snowflake saw things, that would be very beautiful. And Michelle, any last comments and action items, things you want people to remember?
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Thanks for showing us the simplicity of it all. And I just said I just thought that the tongue twister we practiced earlier didn't prepare us for appification. But We'll practice that a few times. But I am really excited for Summit, so hopefully see you there and we can see a longer demo at the booth. Otherwise, I'm hosting and helping out in a hands-on lab pertaining to Iceberg, so I'm super stoked about that. If you're there, come say hi.
Will do. I'll see you out there.
Thanks.
Iceberg hands-on lab with Mitchell. That will be fun. Daniel, you're going to deliver the final score, but first I want to ask you any last messages. And my last message for people is, yes, of course, meet us in San Francisco. It's happening very, very soon. And if you have a demo for this show, send us your demo. Send us your 5-minute video. We would love to host you, and we would love to see you compete against the timer. Daniel, you have the last word.
Yes. Before we get into the final score, I just want to call out, Summit in 2 weeks is going to be amazing. The entire builder zone is going to be off the charts with some amazing theater speakers, all sorts of demos at the demo zone. It's going to be the best and greatest it's ever been. So be prepared. Now, back to Zack and this demo. So Kamesh, Michelle, and I, we deliberated, we discussed, and we scored. So across 3 different categories. As a reminder, those 3 categories are: how ambitious was the demo as a whole, how relevant the demo was, so how useful it was to a very broad audience. And then third, how engaging was it? On a personal level, what was how good of a presenter, demo giver are you? And so overall, the ambitious nature of it was very high. We thought that your ability to craft a demo within this 5 minutes, but while at the same time packing in as much meat as you could. It's not just the sizzle. You got some of the steak in there, and is great. The other aspect here, the relevance. I thought it was really amazing to see how you're able to call a UDF directly from Sigma and wrap it in your functions there. We liked the fact that you were able to plug in Cortex at the end. It's kind of a photo finish there to get some of the Cortex stuff in there, and even show the visualization of that for the when to sell things in wintertime. That was great to see how you were able to kind of tie all the dots there together. And then engaging. We thought that it was quite entertaining. And overall the story was there. And there were times where for the engagement, I think we saw that there's always room for improvement. Now, so overall, drum roll for the final score is great score, 9.9 out of 15. Fantastic, great job.
Thank you so much. The judges judged it, and you did a great job. Thank you so much, Zack, for coming today. Thank you so much to our judges, and thank you everyone for watching. I'm Felipe Hoffa, and I will see everyone very soon, hopefully in San Francisco.
Thank you all. See you at Summit.
Thank you.
Want to be featured on our show? Submit a video of you successfully completing a functioning demo within 5 minutes. Demos must be technical, original, and showcase existing Snowflake features.